Hey, hello everyone. We are so excited to have you here once again for another community conversation. We are celebrating Women's History Month. And what that means is that we are really honed in on the impacts that women have made across our world over time. Unfortunately, some voices have not been amplified in the past. And we are here to change that. We want to amplify all voices. We know the impacts that women have had on innovation from the beginning of time. So we're going to recognize those impacts as well as celebrate the impacts that are happening every single day with some special people on Team Flipgrid.
I am so excited for this. We're going to welcome our guests. And Fely, Jess, Jornea, I'm just ready to dive in. Are you ready? Let's just...
So excited.
Okay.
Super lista.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and invite our two special guests. We have Liz and Sophia. Hey, friends. How are you today?
We're so glad you're here. Yeah, I'm doing so well. Yeah, when I was interviewing this team, I joined about 2 months ago. I watched so many of these live streams to get to know you all, and now I'm on the screen with you all. I feel like I've made it. So this is so fun. Thank you for inviting us.
Amazing. Of course, we're happy to. And Liz, why don't we just like jump in and get to know you both a little bit better? So that's sort of like the first question tonight. Who are you? Where are you checking in from? What's your role on the team? And Liz, why don't you start us off? How's that sound?
Sounds good. Hi, I'm Liz. I lead accessibility at Flipgrid. I am coming to you from a suburb of Minneapolis, and I am super happy to be here.
Looks like you got some nice sunshine today.
Yes.
That's awesome from Minnesota, right? In April? Mm-hmm. It's not April, it's March. Oh my God.
March. No, it's super warm here for what's normal.
Awesome. And Liz, tell us a little bit more about the work that you do on the team.
Sure. Leading accessibility has been a huge passion of mine. It's been awesome. Like the goal is to make Flipgrid the most accessible and inclusive platform possible so that everyone is comfortable sharing their voice and speaking up and being the best they can be.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you. And Sophia, you're one of our new teammates, and not the newest, but new still. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your role and tell us what you do.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Sophia. I'm calling in from Seattle, and it's very sunny here as well. In the wintertime, it gets so dark so early, but now the sun is coming out, and so I'm going to go enjoy a walk later. And so I am a PM or a product manager on the camera team. And so my team works on the wonderful, creative, engaging camera that you get to use on both mobile and web. And so as the PM, I think that my role is to bring the team together to co-create our vision for what the camera can be and what the camera can help you all do to express yourself. And to bring the team together to think about what is the most effective way to build a creative solution. So, for example, instead of spending months building out one feature and just kind of keeping our ideas to ourselves, what if we just solve the problem as quickly as possible, create a really simple solution first, show it to all of you, see how you are all using it so we can iterate on your feedback. And so that's something that we are really excited to continue doing on the camera team. And yes, like Ann said, I joined about 2 months ago, and before this, I worked on mixed reality technology. So if you know anything about the Microsoft HoloLens, the augmented reality headset, I was building tools for first-line workers like surgeons and technicians before coming here to work on creation and education and learning products.
That's amazing. I think, yeah, the future of creative storytelling possibilities, not only with the Flipgrid camera, and I know we're so excited for some really cool things our teammates are working on, but goodness gracious, to make Flipgrid an accessible platform available for all to use with ease and confidence. And Sophia, the organization of the camera tools and creative possibilities, It's blowing my mind with all of the incredible ways folks around the world share, examples from their classrooms. So we're so excited to have you on tonight. And we just want to give a shout out to 2 more of our teammates. There were some unforeseen circumstances that came up and they weren't able to join in last minute, but we're sending so much love out to them and the rest of Team Flipgrid. So let's have Jornea, Jess, or Fely hop in. And so for some new folks who might be tuning in tonight, tell us about you and your role on Flipgrid and what you do as a teacher helping teachers.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Jess. I am newly coming to you from Greenville, South Carolina. I actually just moved up here last week, and I am a former middle school math teacher. I joined Team Flipgrid about 2.5 years ago, and it's exactly what Ann just said. We are teachers helping teachers. So just in any way we can, things like this, all different things, just helping you all out in any ways possible. And I'm just so excited every time we get to connect with you and share these special moments.
That's awesome. Jornea or Fely, you want to hop on?
Go ahead, Fely.
Well, buenas tardes a todos. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, bienvenidos. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation and for being our amazing, beautiful, amable, preciosa community that we love with all of our hearts. My role in Team Flipgrid is to make connections within the entire educator community, but more in particular with the Spanish-speaking community, mi comunidad en español. My goal is to help more educators connect with us at Flipgrid and with each other, all while promoting diversity and inclusion. This is my 5th month with Flipgrid. And I was an ESL ELA teacher in La Joya ISD in South Texas. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Todo mi amor y mi respeto para todos ustedes.
And I'm Jornea. I just have to say, when your passion and your purpose in life collide, it's like the best thing ever. So as an educator, I get the pleasure of working every single day, not only with educators to support and empower their students, but also with our team to figure out how we can best create a tool to allow teachers and students to be able to learn in ways that will transform their lives, not just their learning experience for that moment in time, but also their lives. So it has been a pleasure to learn and grow every single day. And one thing that I've learned from our team is what Sophia just shared. How can we get something out like really quickly and learn from it? Because that's what the learning process is all about. So I have refined my thoughts about learning from our wonderful team, and then the way that we work collaboratively to put out such an inclusive tool.
I love that, Jornea, and I think that's one of the really cool things. It's Women's History Month, so we've been doing some really cool learning, growth exploration, sharing resources with each other as women on Team Flipgrid and at Microsoft. But you just made a really cool comment about learning from the team. And I think that's one thing that's so special for me as a teacher helping teachers. That's my role on the team. That's how we describe what we do. It's how to meaningfully integrate a creative storytelling tool like Flipgrid, and we're lifelong learners ourselves, right? So this is a special conversation because we're sort of literally just having a conversation and talking about innovation. So I love Sophia, Sophia, I just call Liz, her last name, Liz and Sophia, Jess, Jornea, Fely, of course. I love hearing, of course, you describe your role on the team, but I have another question for you. Are you ready for the next question? All right, here we go. So as we celebrate innovation and women in our lives, maybe perhaps who have influenced us personally or professionally, I'd love for anybody to just jump in and speak to this. Who has inspired you in your life or the work that you do? Maybe it's the person who set you on this trajectory or a life lesson you gained from somebody. So anybody who's ready, jump in.
Yeah, I can share about my podcast co-host and best friend, Ta and Kim. So she and I have been in a long distance friendship for the last 8 years. We met kind of randomly, and we actually never went to the same school. We never went to the same, never interned in the same city, but we just kept in touch online because there was just so much for us to talk about and update each other about. And at some point, we co-authored a blog together to really keep each other updated about what we were learning and unlearning. I love this theme that you're bringing up, Anne, about the things that we are learning from our community, the things that we are learning to be better educators, to be better teachers, helping teachers, to be better product managers. And the theme of our podcast is actually us documenting all the perspectives that are shaping our lifelong journey of learning and unlearning. So some of the things that we have been learning a lot recently is about Asian American history, things that we never learned in the textbooks, right? That's something that really drew me to the Flipgrid team, was seeing all of you highlight these things and make it easier for students to learn things that I never got to learn in my curriculum growing up. So yeah, learning a lot about Asian American history, learning a lot about my family's immigration history to the US, learning a lot about just also unlearning, I would say, unlearning a lot of definitions of success that we grew up with that no longer resonate with us, unlearning communication habits or mindsets that aren't serving us. And so to me, she is my role model and co-creator when it comes to learning and unlearning. And I love that she has inspired me to be learning and challenging ourselves on our podcast, but also having fun, right? Like, I think there is a lot of conversations about Asian American or Asian representation in media, and there's a lot of pressure to, create the perfect movie, to create the perfect podcast, the perfect piece of media. But I think that yes, there's a lot of responsibility and excitement there, but we also ought to have fun. Like, I don't think it's fair to force one creator to be like the person who is responsible for sharing every single story out there. That's just not possible. So, and in the spirit of talking about my best friend, she's Korean American, and something I wanted to teach you all is how Koreans like to throw hearts around. So I know earlier we were sharing hearts like this, but a lot of my Korean friends, they like to make a little finger heart like this and share it with each other.
Oh my God, I love that. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Sophia. It's super inspiring to hear how a friendship challenges you, right, and celebrates you, but is that like bookend, if you will, to an experience, and learning not only about Asian American history, but you also said something. Maybe it's perhaps learning for the first time stories that were left out of a narrative. And I think that's something that all of us feel extremely passionate about, not only in respect to Black history and celebrating that, but learning more about Asian American history too. So I love hearing about your journey. And plug your podcast. What is your podcast? How can folks find that?
Oh, yes. Well, thank you, Anne. It's called Bamboo and Glass. You can find us on Instagram and anywhere that you listen. We're currently wrapping up a series about digital communities. So people who have created digital communities, people who have sustained communities. And it's just so fun to get to work on building social learning communities at work and get to talk to people who do this for fun outside of work. So yeah, you can find us on Instagram, find us anywhere else. So yeah, thanks so much for letting me share about my best friend and also about something that I love doing.
I love that. I'm totally remembering this. This is thank you, Sophia. Liz, hop into the conversation. I'd love for you to take a spin and let us know about somebody who's inspired you.
Sure. I'd have to say that my grandma has really been an inspiration to me. She's really always gone out of her way to make sure everyone feels welcome and comfortable. Growing up, we've always had a handful of extra people at holiday celebrations that were displaced for whatever reason. And it's always been part of my upbringing is to just welcome people and make sure everyone's included and feeling like they have a place. And so that she's been a true inspiration in my life.
I love that. Family, I think, is so special. And I know I'm looking at everybody's smiles on the screen and how we're probably literally just thinking of all the people in our family right now that have impacted us and influenced us. Liz, that's super special to know about her role in your life, and the gift of hospitality and welcoming others is a special thing. So, I love that. I'm going to use this all night tonight. Love this quote. Our friend Nikki, hi Nikki's saying, I love the Korean heart. Thank you for sharing that. So super, super special. I'm popping up comments on here tonight, friends. Tonight's a little bit different. It's just a conversation, and it makes me so happy to see these quotes like from our friend Lanny, who we love and miss and are sending love and across the ocean to you. Amazing. Thank you. Jornea, Jess, Fely, hop in and answer the question too. Who's somebody who's inspired you?
Goodness, I have two. And it all has to do with believing in someone. So I want every educator to know that you have the power. When you pour into students, they can do anything. So the first person is Dr. Tammy Alexander. She saw me as a teacher who was excited about helping other teachers and doing all this professional development. And so I had the opportunity to work with 12 different school districts underneath her wing at the University of I'm drawing a blank, Alabama A&M University. And so what was really neat about that was she saw the character traits. She saw that I was there side by side with teachers, finding resources that would help them and will work alongside them side by side, even after the professional development, giving them my phone number and an email address. And she said, okay, this is somebody that I want on my team, right? And so I think, when you see someone and their character traits and the things that you know will get them to do so many other great things, you pour yourselves into them. And so the second person is Jenny Magera. She was another who I had admired from afar, and she gave me a really awesome opportunity after hearing about the work that I was doing. But then one thing that Jenny did that I will always remember and love her for, she saw that there was a need to represent voices, diverse voices in the ed tech space and in the keynote space. And there really wasn't many opportunities for people who look like me to share their voice. And so she created a wonderful opportunity called Our Voice Academy. And the first one was held at Team Flipgrid, which I'm so proud to say, where we had people of diverse backgrounds come together to share their story, craft their stories so that they can be prepared to share those with the world. So I will be forever grateful to both Dr. Tammy Alexander and also Jenny Magera.
I love it. I think we know so many like friends who have gone through Our Voice Academy, and seeing new leaders have the chance to share their voice on global stages in new ways is so inspiring. So Jornea, thanks for sharing that. I'm looking at two other ladies. Who has inspired you? Fely?
Well, my journey of inspiration started when I was a little kid. At a very, very young age, I was able to witness the hard work, love, and dedication that my parents had all the time towards us. And all of that work and love translated into my work, my family, and my life. And now my inspiration for doing what I do is my family, my husband, my boys, Omarcito and Fernando, and my students and the work that I do, and my teachers in our community. My mom and my dad work and I witnessed that in the US, like how I saw my parents acquiring a different culture, fighting certain battles that at that time maybe I didn't understand, but now that I'm a mother, I do. And I was like, my superheroes, my inspiration. And I love the fact that translates into your life. All of that, what you witness, translates into a positive thing, because inspiration can be seen from different perspectives. You can be inspired to do something, but you can also be inspired not to do something, right? So you learn that from it. And I saw it in my parents, and I'm blessed to be able to also motivate and show all the love, because I have so much love that I want to share. Muchísimo amor, mucho respeto y mucha admiración. Our community, our teachers, and every single one of our students that are in our classrooms are my inspiration in my everyday. And of course, every single one of you ladies. I love you with all my heart.
Oh, Fely, we love you so much. Oh my gosh. For me, one of my inspirational people, of course, is my mom. She's also, actually, she just retired this past year, but she was a teacher for a long time as well. So, of course, as I'm growing up, I'm thinking, oh, wow, she's so cool. I want to be like her. And then I also had a professor named Dr. Culbertson, who really, really believed in me. And when I was in school, it's a whole story for another day, but, I was facing a lot of adversity and being told that, maybe education wasn't the thing that I should be doing. And she was someone who really believed in me and was supporting me at all moments. And I think that as students, we all need someone like that. And so it really solidified that I wanted to be able to be that person for my students. And so she and I still are in contact, 15 years later. And she still is one of my biggest fans. And it always just really, I don't even have words for it, but you all know the feeling I'm talking about, that it's just like, someone believes in me. This is so incredible. And so now in my career, I get to do that with educators and with students as well. So even, Lanny said, when my students met Team Flipgrid, it was like their heroes walked in, but that's how we felt too. Like, I was so honored to be able to be at your school, Lanny, and you're one of my heroes and your students are my heroes. And so being able to support you all in that way is just like, every day's incredible. I'm inspired by so many.
I love that. And Jess, you just said inspired by so many, and that's how I feel too. I have a really hard time when somebody says pick one. I can't ever pick one. I say all the things, and I say, on behalf of Team Flipgrid, when we say you inspire us, to all the people out there listening live now, listening in the future, whoever we're connected to on social, that is the honest to God truth. You inspire us every single day with the incredible ways you work to empower your students, help them find their voice, gain confidence, create, share, celebrate, showcase, all those things. And so every educator out there, that's who inspires me. But if I have to pick one, I'm going to talk about my mom, of course, my first teacher, and the people who build into our lives. But my mom is a lifelong educator as well, and a former nun. So even when she was in the convent, she was teaching. I know, Sophia, that's a story I'll have to tell you. My mom, the former nun, was teaching while she was in the convent. And when she left the convent, also went back to school, became an educator. But I describe my mom as this little tiny firecracker who's full of life and passion. And she wants learning to be rich and joyful and for folks to have fun, which is just how my grandfather was as well. And I think that's where I get like this zest and this pep for taking all the adventures. And, she has made more than 2 handfuls of trips overseas to teach in international communities and help others learn English or do service projects. And she also worked for the majority of her career in special education, as well as my sister, who is an adaptive physical education specialist. So the heart and compassion for students who have special needs or different learning abilities, that's something that I'm always seeking out. And Liz, that's something I love and respect so much about you and the work that you're doing for accessibility on the platform, is how can we help empower others? And it's awesome to be on this call with you all as we work on Team Flipgrid at Microsoft. That's the mission, right? That's the mission of the work that we do, is to help others be empowered to share their voice and respect the diverse voices of others and empower others to achieve more. So it's so inspiring just to hear your personal stories. And I want to spin this into the next question real quick. Are y'all ready for this? So what does innovation mean to you? It's a super broad, open question, but I'm so curious to know. And Jornea, kick us off.
Oh, goodness. So, I always say, if you can think it, you can Flipgrid it. So I think innovation really comes from like simplicity and taking something from one discipline and applying it to something totally different. And then your mind is just blown, like just something new and different that has an impact on your life. So I think with innovation, especially on Team Flipgrid, it's not just coming up with the best new thing, but how does that impact someone else's life. So that's what I really feel innovation is all about.
I love that. Fely, I'm just calling out folks. Here we go. I'm just going to keep this going. Fely, what does innovation mean to you?
I believe innovation can mean different things to people depending on their paths, right? Dependiendo de las carreras en las que estén. For me in particular, innovation is a new way to help others. Like, how are you going to be helping others? How are you going to be innovative to help others? It doesn't necessarily mean a new app or a new tool, but it needs to be, or it can be a new approach to facilitate the learning. A perfect example of innovation is our wonderful community who are creating the most amazing, innovating things for our students. And for that, I thank you every single day.
I love it. I love it. Sophia, how about you? Hop in.
Yes, I love the definitions of both of you already shared. I think maybe a different approach to this question is like, how do we enable innovation? How is Flipgrid able to create all these new ways to empower you to create? And I think one is being inspired by this resilient community, and two, it's really deeply listening. Every time we're building something, we're thinking about like, what is the real problem that we're solving here? And are we sure we really understand how people are feeling about this problem? Which is why I love going on Twitter, love going on Facebook, student voice ambassadors, every single Facebook group you can think of for Flipgrid. I'm in it, listening, commenting, asking you all questions. And so I think innovation starts with asking questions and being curious and not assuming that you know what other people need or want.
I love that. Fantastic. Okay, Liz, hop in.
Sure. I think innovation is coming up with an idea or solution that makes something better for everyone. I really lean on inclusive design for this. It's so many things have been built for like one really small specific group of people that have really been benefit to everyone. Straws, for example, that was for people with low mobility, but clearly everyone enjoys a straw now and again. And there's hundreds of examples, and that really inspires me and inspires me every day.
I love that.
My turn. So much of what Sophia said really resonated with me about asking questions. I always talk about how like I am a naturally curious person. And so I ask why for everything. And it drives my husband crazy because he's like, I can't ever surprise you because you ask too many questions because you're so curious. But I just want to know, right? And learning and growing. And that's what leads to innovation. And I think that being willing to take risks. When I was in the classroom specifically, like there's so much of like prescripted in the box, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And I found that I was such a better teacher once I kind of like threw all of that by the wayside and was like, you know what, I'm going to try this and see what happens. And if it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, awesome. We're going to learn from it. We're going to grow from it and carry on. And even our friend Rira just said, for me, being open-minded to anything to learn and bring them into my classes. And it just goes hand in hand with that, just not being afraid to just try something. And that happens with us on Flipgrid too, that we might be like, you know what, let's see what this will do for the community. Sometimes it might work, sometimes it might not work, but it's always these beautiful moments to learn and grow and move forward.
I love that. And I'm kind of freaking out internally. What am I going to say? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Can I define what this means to me? And I love this. I think, Priscilla, you're dropping this comment right at this moment where in agreement 100% with what you're saying. To me, innovation drives us forward. And whether that's exploration, whether that's inquiry, whether that's creativity, it's what's driving us forward to make authentic connections and use whatever we're learning to drive us forward in our life, right? And sometimes that looks like this. Sometimes it's a neat, straight path, but it typically isn't. And so as lifelong learners, what do we do with what we're gaining, the new knowledge we're acquiring, and how does that drive us forward? I think of the Maya Angelou quote often, know better, do better, right? And it doesn't mean do better in terms of success, but it's lifelong learning. And as an educator, that's what I wanted to model for my students, right? So, oh my gosh, I love this. This is maybe we planned out this whole conversation because I just wanted to absorb all of your brilliance and positive vibes. So friends, we're coming close on time and I want to respect your time. And so we're doing the first ever lightning round during the community conversation. And this is something that's so special to all of us, that hashtag Flipgrid for all. And I just thought we could roll around the screen real quick and in just a few seconds, if you can articulate, what does the hashtag Flipgrid for all mean to you? Anybody jump in.
To me, it means inclusivity and community.
Jornea, what does it mean to you?
I was saying inclusivity because I was going to tell you guys bye to bring my daughter to dance class, but
Yep.
Inclusivity.
Bye, friend.
Bye.
For
me, it's inspiration. That's where I go to be inspired, is to that hashtag.
I love it. Sophia or Liz, have you thought yet maybe what does that mean to you?
Yeah, to me, Flipgrid for all means learning from any moments where things go super well with your community and moments that don't go as well. And maybe it could be inspiration for innovation.
I love it.
Yeah, to me, inclusivity and accessibility, and just making sure Flipgrid is best for everyone to share their voice and however they want to share it.
I love it. And to me, it's community, the loudest, raddest, most epic community of inspiring educators around the world. I know we have folks on from Morocco, from Wales, from all across the US tonight. So we simply want to say thank you. And yeah, Priscilla, you said it. This hashtag, this incredible community is inspiration. So we want to thank you. Lanny, you nailed it. Thank you. Community is the heartbeat of everything that we do. And we're so inspired by you all every single day. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And Lisa is, that echo community. So friends, we want to say thank you for joining in for another Flipgrid for All community conversation. And I want to say to Sophia and Liz and Jornea, of course, and Jess and Fely, thank you for joining in and sharing your heart and your mind and all the brain zings tonight and sharing so much love. Friends, pass that love on. And we're celebrating you, of course. We're going to keep the Women's History Month celebration going on all month long. But beyond that, life and learning exists 365 days of the year. So don't limit yourself to a month. Friends, that's it. Great show. Thanks for inspiring me tonight. And I have loved spending this time with you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody. Muchas gracias. Bye.
All right. Adios.